Good morning and happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to my Sunday Soulful Conversation. I'm Reverend Charlotte McGinnis, and as always, really appreciate you taking the time to tune in with me and be part of the conversation. So, as always, appreciate it if you would take a few minutes to share this with anyone you think that might benefit from it or be interested in hearing what we talk about. And all of my offerings are offered on my website, charlottemcginnis.com, so you can see what we have going on during the week. Also, you can check out our prayer ministry, our Alliance of Divine Love Prayer Ministry, on that website and on my website. And we will get our team praying for you as soon as we receive the request. And we do get awesome feedback and really great. Everything's great. So really grateful for that. So there you go. And if you feel like it any time of the day, just tap your heart and just say, I'm going to just blast all those requests with some prayers. And I know they'll be felt and appreciated. So we just love to have you part of our soul family. Well, okay. So since last week, lots of things have happened. It's been a very difficult week on a lot of levels. For us, Ellen and myself, we lost our beloved dog after 17 years, Lola. And the little pup, she was tough as nails and did hang on way longer than we expected. But it was finally time to say goodbye on Monday. And it's one of the most difficult things you could ever, well, I know you all been through it. And it's like losing a child, even though I never had one. So want to thank everybody for your kindness and cards and everything. So anyway, thank you. And anyone out there who's lost a pet, you know what it's like. So I know we're not alone in this pain and grief. So love to everybody who's ever lost a pet or might be losing one, or of course, a loved one, a family member, a friend. And that seems to be where I'm starting from here today, but choosing to reframe, move forward, and talk about the light and what that means. Lesson 75 in A Course in Miracles, the light has come. So we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But before we go there, I also, as we had mentioned, or we're all fully aware of, and this week, another tragic situation, predominantly in Florida, although there were certainly other areas in the country, South Carolina included, impacted by Hurricane Ian. But the folks around Sanibel, Fort Myers, Sarasota, that whole region of Florida is devastated beyond belief, beyond anything we could have ever imagined. As they say, storm surge of biblical proportion. Sanibel Island is inhabitable, and it's just hard to believe. The access road, the causeway going into there, gone. And what do you do in a case like that? It just seems so unsurmountable. And what's the first step you take? And I was watching some fellows this morning on TV sort of talking, well, this is sort of the step-by-step procedure. And it is a process and a long one and a tough one. So those folks down there and everywhere in the world today, but any way you feel like you can support and help, be it through financial contributions, prayer, goods that you can offer, services, anything, I'm sure it's much appreciated and much needed at this time. And so certainly there's all kinds of rocking and rolling happen on the planet that I don't have to go into great detail. Those of you that follow the financial situation in the world, particularly our US stock market, that of course has been another issue that seems kind of trite and trivial at one point, because it's like, well, the loss of life and resources are so much more important than the money issue, but that is all part of the mix. It really is. And so we have to, everything around us is like falling apart. And so as I talk about a lot, everything that's happening now, I do believe is happening for our greater good, collective greater good. I do believe this, even though it looks like crap right now. And some people are probably like, how can you even say that? But I do believe that everything is evolving for our greater good. Everything is a teaching device for bringing us home or for waking us up. And one of the most amazing things, and I think one of the biggest lessons that we can pay attention from and pay attention to and take from this situation, say in Florida, is the selfless service of those who are first responders. The governor, beyond political, he has done a terrific job. He and his wife have been selfless, and I don't know if they've slept in the past week. All of these first responders, FEMA, they've all really done a phenomenal job. And not only that, it's really so beautiful to see the neighbors helping neighbors, and the friends helping friends, and the strangers helping strangers. And whatever it takes, it's like all the stuff that we've carried, grievances and separation and what have you up to that moment seem to disappear in these traumatic, difficult times. And I'm just suggesting that maybe we pay attention to that and realize that we don't have to wait for the difficult times before we're kind, before we're generous, before we see the needs of our brothers as our own, and be a little more selfless and kind to each other, because I think that's what this world is calling us to do at this point in time. And also, I read something that maybe I just got a chuckle out of it. It's always good to get a chuckle, right? And it says that you can come out now. Mercury retrograde has ended today, 9/2, or excuse me, 10/2, October 2nd. So it's been going on since September 9th. Mercury in retrograde has lots of interpretations, but it is when Mercury appears to be, I think, revolving in the opposite direction, but it also has impacts on energetically and things that happen. So it's everybody that's sort of in the world that I'm in. It's like, oh no, Mercury's in retrograde. No wonder this is happening. So whether you believe it or not, that's just one thing we can check off and say, yay, Mercury and retrograde ended today. So yippee. Well, Eckhart Tolle, let's hear a little bit about what he has to say. Most humans are never fully present in the now because unconsciously they believe the next moment must be more important than this one. But then you miss your whole life, which is never not now. So how often are we guilty of that? And I'm not saying guilty like bad guilty, but well, it's guilty in the sense that it's keeping us out of presence and peace and the now for sure. But how often do we project into the future? We worry about the future. Or how often do you go into the past and want to dig up old stories, resentments, grievances, whatever it is? And anytime I move my thoughts or attention to the past or to the future, then I'm missing the point and the beauty of this moment, which is in this moment, all is well, all is divine, all is peace, all is holy, all is good. And yet the minute I project into the future and like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do about this or that or this situation? Well, I talk about this a lot. This is a lesson for me to practice much. And I believe that what we're here to recognize is the more we stay present in the now, in this moment. And I want to also share a quote from A Course in Miracles: a healed mind doesn't plan. And what that really is saying to us is that if we really, let's see, as the Course in Miracles also says, if you knew who walked beside you on the path that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. So if we really would stay present, knowing who walked with us on the path that we've chosen, fear would be impossible. So we have to continue to train ourselves to bring ourselves back to this present moment. A healed mind doesn't plan means that I'm allowing the still small voice, the Holy Spirit, ascended masters. I'm allowing my higher self, a power greater than myself, my ego, my little self, the power of all creation, to guide me, lead me, and direct me through every thought, feeling, and emotion and moment, rather than getting all wrapped up in fear, especially wrapped up in fear over something that's not even real. So presence is key. Pay attention to what lies in front of you. Our friend Sandy from Florida has been staying with us, not because of the storm, it's just timing that way. And we were talking this morning about Joe Dispenza, and she's a huge fan of his, as I am. But she's been privy to many of his seminars and workshops. And we were talking a little bit about what Joe teaches. And really, it seems to be the common thread. I don't think Joe has the corner on this at all, except he presents it and supports it in a terrific way. But it's really our thoughts projected onto the world, are really what we're inviting into our experience. Constantly, what are you thinking? We talked about that. We've talked about that all the time. If you're a regular participant here on Sundays. So what I'm thinking projected onto the world does have an effect. It's like the world is the screen, okay? And my mind is the projector, and what I'm projecting from my mind to the screen is happening. What comes back to me are what I fuel these thoughts with, and what am I fueling with? Emotions, feelings. So we have to make sure that we're the most powerful tool we have in manifesting and creation is to align our feelings with that which we choose to manifest. Because if I'm saying, oh, I want lots of money or I want great health, but my feelings and my emotions are not in congruence with that or alignment with that, then it's never going to happen. So tapping into that feeling of knowing all is well is a great power source that I don't think we tap into nearly enough. We're not really programmed to do that. So we have to develop that skill, practice that. So the way we do that is to really, as Eckhart Tolle talked about just a minute ago, practice presence, go into our heart. Don't allow ourselves the luxury of a negative thought. When we're afraid, take a breath, pause, choose again, be still, and know that we're not alone in this, and all will be well. So all of those things are tools for presence and practicing presence and manifestation and overcoming fear. But I wanted to get into something really powerful. It's all powerful. It's all good stuff. But this lesson just popped up yesterday and somewhere. I love the Course in Miracles, as you all know. Been a student and teacher of it for practically 40 years now, and it's a life changer. Awesome. So the light has come. That's lesson 75. And I'm actually going to go through this entire lesson. It's not long. Don't worry. We won't be here till 4:00. But we'll be here till 3. No, just kidding. Anyway, but I was like, well, I want to pick out some pieces of this. And then I looked, the whole darn lesson so powerful. I'm like, well, we're going to talk about that. So the light has come. You are healed and you can heal. The light has come. You are saved and you can save. You are at peace and you bring peace with you wherever you go. Darkness and turmoil and death have disappeared. The light has come. The reason this lesson is so appealing, I think, for me, and hopefully for you guys, is that we have been in so much darkness and turmoil individually, collectively, weather-wise, financially, war, peace, conflicts all around. So this is a lesson in how we can shift to the true power, the light, and not get caught up and perpetuation, and the perpetuation of the illusion and the fear. So the light has come, darkness and turmoil have disappeared, and death have disappeared. Today we celebrate the happy ending to your long dream of disaster. So in other words, I look at today like, let's cut off that dream of disaster, begin anew. Actually, we're reborn in every moment. I've referred many times in the past when I grew up, when people would speak about being born again in Christianity, it seemed like a nice idea, but to me, it never really like embedded in me. I was like, okay, what are they getting so excited about? And I'm not saying this critically, it just did not at that time make sense and resonate at that time. Maybe I was the idiot, probably was. But anyway, as I evolved and learned other perspectives spiritually, what I realized is that every moment we are renewed in spirit. To be born again is to really let go of the past and to be in presence. So now I can get excited about it because all that matters is right now. All my past, except its beauty, is gone. And all that remains is a blessing. I can be renewed, restored in every moment. Talking about some of you guys I know deal with physical and health issues. One of the most exciting things I think we don't give enough merit to is the fact that our skin, every organ in our body is totally restored every 6 months. We have a new liver like every 6 months, a new heart, new lungs, what have you, new skin. So why do we stay sick? Well, if we don't change our behavior, meaning how we treat our, the obvious, the supplementation, the food we put into our body, if are we getting sleep? I mean, the practical, logical things in the world's terms. And if I'm carrying the same beliefs and thoughts, then I'm not really creating a friendly environment for my body to restore and renew itself. Same thing with my spirit. If I'm carrying the same crappy thoughts, feelings, and worries about the future and upset about things in the past, then guess what? I am also creating an environment to create more of that. So it's a choice. So we are literally, reborn in every single moment. So today we celebrate a happy ending and a creation of something new. Today, the time of light begins for you, me, and everyone. It's a new era in which the world is born. The old one has left no trace upon it, and it's passing. Today, we see a different world because the light has come. And I am talking about this moment right now and today, but literally we can flip that light on anytime. We don't have to wait till the end of the world is not its destruction. In other words, it's its translation into heaven, which is another punchy, powerful quote from A Course in Miracles. It's translation into heaven, meaning in the midst of all the perceived darkness, that all I have to do is flip on the light and shine that light of God onto all of this dream or nightmare of death, destruction, and darkness. And then when the light comes, we are renewed, restored, we're born again. So today, our exercises, each of these lessons has little practices or exercises, and it says, today will be happy ones, in which we offer thanks for the passing of the old and the beginning of the new. No shadows from the past remain to darken our sight and hide the world that forgiveness offers to us. So a forgiven world is a world where we no longer judge. We only see through the purity of the sight of Christ, that we are no longer seeing duality and separation, but rather the connection and non-duality and heaven on earth. Today, we will accept the new world as we want to see it. We will be given what we desire. We will see the light, and we will see the light, for the light has come. So we'll see the world we want to see. The Course also says this other quote, and many other teachings say this: we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. So do I choose to see it as a friendly or a hostile universe? Well, If I have hostility and anger and resentment and judgment in me, then that's what I'm going to project and see in the world. And if I have a heart of forgiveness, compassion, kindness, unity, non-duality, that's the world I see. So be in the world, not of it. But remember, this is all about today. I am flipping the switch. The light has come. So the other practice periods are devoted to looking at the world that forgiveness shows us. This is what we want to see, and only this. Our single purpose makes our goal inevitable. Today, the real world arises before us in gladness, to be seen at last. Sight has been given us now that the light has come. Our single purpose makes this goal inevitable. Then the real world will be revealed to us. One thing that our beloved founder of Alliance of Divine Love, Dr. Selwa, Barbara, who thankfully many of us have the opportunity to share time with her on Saturdays, talking about our prayers and the angel squad and that powerful work that we're doing that's come through her. And she's a great teacher and a guide. She's always saying, this is not the real world. This is not the real world. This is not the real world. I've heard her say that 500 times. How often do we need to hear it till we get that? Yesterday, she called to check up on just, 83 years old, a beautiful spirit. And now here's this woman, Cocoa Beach, right? 83 years old, went through the storm, and she's calling to see how I am. Okay, so and we're in North Carolina, and we got like this much rain. So that's a special kind of person. But she also just on another note was sweet enough to care about the passing of our dog Lola, and assured us that she was right here beside us, and she'd be nudging us and right here always with us. And so those are the little things you want to, once we have this realization, all we want to do, all we're really here to do is to help people wake up. We realize that our brother's interests, sister's interests, are not separate from our own. That's why I think that unfortunately, we don't have to wait till an Ian comes through and devastates a community before we're willing to lay down our differences and be selfless and go beyond that. That's the way we really should be, in my mind. If we were truly acting in our greatest sense of love and compassion, we would just show up for everybody selflessly, because giving and receiving are one in truth. My brothers and sisters my awakening is dependent on their awakening, because we're all one. So forgive the schmucks, or those perceived schmucks. There are no schmucks, just perceived schmucks, right? So today, the real world arises before us in gladness, to be seen at last. Sight has been given us. Yippee, now the light has come. We do not want to see the ego's shadow on the world today. We see the light, and in it we see heaven's reflection across the world. Begin these practice periods today, and I suggest we all do this by saying this statement over and over today. The light has come. I have forgiven the world. That's really what Jesus came to do, to see the world, to be a demonstration of pure light and the power of that, being in the world, not of the world. He embodied the light and love of God so powerfully that he overcame the world. We too can do that. And so the light has come. I have forgiven the world. Well, there is only light. Darkness is fear, which is illusion. The ego's vision and projection is that of fear and sickness and death and lack and poverty and all of those things. That's not God's vision. God's world is one of non-duality, peace, love, transformation, perfection, divine healing, whatever that is. So if we just trust the process, hey, there's a world out there that is waiting for us that is beyond our greatest imaginings. So dwell not upon the past today. Keep a completely open mind. So important, an open mind. Let go of the past. Be open to receive the gifts of the kingdom. Wash away past ideas and clean every concept we've made. In other words, all these BS belief systems that have been programmed into us that keep us further from knowing the truth of who we are. If we can just clean all those false identities that we've made up and begin to see the forgiven world today, we'll see a world and it'll look like we've never seen it before. We don't even know what it looks like. We merely want to, and it says we merely want to have it shown to us. While we wait, repeat several times and in complete patience, okay, take a breath. The light has come. I have forgiven the world. Anytime you're tempted to be in fear, anxiety, judgment, instead of engaging with that, attaching thought, emotion, feeling, analyzing, what have you, take a breath instead, say, the light has come. I have forgiven the world. And realize that your forgiveness entitles you to vision. That vision is seeing the world through the eyes of love rather than fear. Understanding that the Holy Spirit never fails to give the gift of sight to the forgiving. Believe he will not fail you now. You have forgiven the world. He will be with you as you watch and wait. He will show you what true vision sees. It is his will, and you have joined with him. Wait patiently for him. He will be there. The light has come. You have forgiven the world. So the Holy Spirit is just waiting for us we have free will. So if I choose, I can tap into the will of God, non-duality, love, unity, peace, oneness, all good. Or I can tap into this crazy illusion of fear. But we have to be willing to say, Holy Spirit, I choose thy will, not my will, be done. I have to be willing to let go of all my preconceived ideas of how I think things should play out before I'm going to be okay. I got to have this much money in the bank, this relationship, live here, have this job, have this physical condition be this way or that way, whatever it is. And the fact is, if we really would just surrender and trust the will of God, we would have a whole different, I can't even imagine. We can't even imagine. But as we choose to say this statement, the light has come, I have forgiven the world, we begin to have bigger glimpses of heaven and what this speaks of. Tell the Holy Spirit you know you cannot fail because you trust in him. And tell yourself you wait in certainty to look upon the world he promised you. From this time forth, you will see differently. Today, the light has come, and you will see the world that has been promised you since time began, and in which the end of time is ensured. So that's what I feel this is all about, all this stuff that's happening and erupting. And, it's the end of one world and the restoration and the beginning of the reawakening to the real world, the new world. But we have all these systems and programs that have not served our greater good and our awakening have to have the light shown upon them. And it's happening. And it's not much fun. And it's not so easy. And the more attached I am to my body, the more attached I am to conditions, what have you, whatever attachment I have, I can pretty much guarantee you that the universe is going to say, well, you got to look at that attachment before you're going to know what I'm speaking of here. And so that I think it's about complete just letting go, jumping out of the parachute and letting go and trusting the process and just saying, okay, well, I'm willing to let go of this dream of insanity, death, fear, sickness, and what have you, and trust the will of God, whatever that is. It takes a lot of faith and trust. In other words, I'm no longer giving God my shopping list and my prayer. It's thy will be done. I'm just totally accepting of what is. And, because to me, it always, and this wasn't a hard one for me to accept, to integrate, yes, to accept, no, because why do I need to tell God what I'm praying for? Because God knows better than me. So how do we integrate that into our prayer ministry? When people submit their request, obviously it's a call for healing and love, and our requests are always the greatest degree of love in healing and health and wholeness, but God's will be done in the greatest degree of love. And it's not my will, but God's will. So we just bathe these requests in God's love and trust that the process is unfolding in the greater good of all. And sometimes it's different, a lot different than we expect, but I do know it's always the right outcome. Going back to our precious Lola, 17 years old, she lived a darn good life. We nursed her and babied her. Should we have prayed to, oh, come on, you can pull through this, God, you can heal this, you can, and it was like, no, just Spirit, just show us what we need to do. And we woke up last Monday morning knowing that it was time. And we didn't try to go through any more measures. We'd gone through measures, but we knew at that time it was time to let go. But those measures we went through before were also guided by Spirit, and they served their perfect role. And so we were tuned in to know also when it was time to let go. So the more we can forgive, let go of the past, be present, trust the guidance of Spirit, we know when to do what we need to do and when we need to do it in all ways. And as I said, one of my favorite statements from the Course, a healed mind doesn't plan. So these practice periods will be joyful reminders of our release. Remind yourself every quarter of an hour. Okay, this is asking for a lot. So every 15 minutes or so today is a time for special celebration. Give thanks for the mercy and love of God. Rejoice in the power of forgiveness to heal your sight completely. Be confident that on this day there's a new beginning. Without the darkness of the past upon your eyes, you cannot fail to see today. And what you see will be so welcome that you will gladly extend today forever. Doesn't that sounds good to me? I'm in. Hope you are. The light has come. I have forgiven the world. Every 15 minutes, just make that your mantra today. Should you be tempted, say to anyone who seems to pull you back into darkness, the light has come. I have forgiven you. So whenever I get into that little, what would you call it? Little twinge or aggravation or trigger, whatever it is, whenever I'm tempted to take the bait, get it hooked, it says, and I bring up a projection of something rather than engaging and wrapping my story around it. Remember, say this statement: the light has come. I have forgiven you. Guarantee if you do that and include yourself in this, if you have any unresolved grievances in yourself, which beg to tell you that they're all, actually, it's all your stuff because you just project it onto someone else because you don't want to deal with it and you're going to blame that other person for your crap. So just saying, but whether it's temptation, but for just practical means and purposes, if you're being triggered about something with yourself or someone else, the light has come. I have forgiven you or you. So we have dedicated this day to the serenity in which God would have you be. Keep it in your awareness of yourself and see it everywhere today as we celebrate the beginning of your vision and the sight of the real world, which has come to replace the unforgiven world, which you thought was real. So are you with me on this? The light has come. I have forgiven you. I see a forgiven world. take that into your mind, into your heart, and know that we literally can forgive, release the past, and go forth with the greatest power, that greater power than we ever knew was possible. But we have to be willing to let go of all preconceptions, ideas, perceptions, whatever it is that we've carried thus far. Let those go, and then we can begin to see the real world. Sounds good, doesn't it? Well, a couple of things that I want to wind down with this is a wonderful poet, Albert Camus, who all of his poetry is just so beautiful and deep. And I don't know much about him, to be honest, but everything I've read, I like. So I'm going to share what I read today because I thought it was appropriate and timely. He said, "In the midst of hate, I found there was within me an invincible love. In the midst of tears, I found there was within me an invincible smile. In the midst of chaos, I found there was within me an invincible calm. I realized through it all that in the midst of winter, I found there was within me an invisible summer. And that makes me happy. For it says that no matter how hard the world pushes against me, within Mother is something stronger, something better pushing right back." So, yes, in the darkness, there's always the light. I wouldn't say pushing back, but just waiting to be turned on, waiting to be called upon. You are the light. You are the light of the world. You know, we can't wait for other people to fix it. It's time for us to do our own work, because every time I choose to turn the light on, offer forgiveness, not only am I being elevated, but the entire consciousness or vibration of the world is lifted. I'll go on to say the universe, because I do believe that. So this is another little prayer that I'd like to close with. God's light is within me and around me. With the sword of faith in my hand and the love of God in my heart, I am a warrior of light. I join my brothers and sisters everywhere to overcome fear with faith, hatred with love, and disease with health. We are all warriors of light. We fill the world with God's light. We are all warriors. It's time for us to pull our lightsabers out and see the world forgiven, to literally tap into the real world, which is the world of God. This world is not our home. Doesn't mean it doesn't seem very real, or it does seem so real, but we do have tools and guidance to overcome it. And that is through relationship, forgiveness, healing, compassion, love, and all that. So tune into the voice of your heart and you'll never fail. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate all of you guys so much. And if you feel inspired to share this, you can just share it from YouTube or Facebook, or that'd be the two best places. And if you feel inspired to support the ministry, it's mainly to just cover expenses. That's great too. If not, that's totally fine, because I know that the Spirit's got this, and I do enjoy doing this. And thank you all so much. Have a great day. Stay safe. And the light has come. It's a new world. Keep that going. See what happens. Namaste.